On April 10th of 2022, I was arrested by the Polk County Sheriff's Department uh, on some false charges. Basically, it was all malicious prosecution. I've said this before in previous videos. Um, April 10th of 2022, I was arrested for resisting an officer without violence because I didn't provide the law enforcement officer with my identification upon request. And I was also arrested. Well, the secondary charge I got was unlawful possession of a handcuff key. Okay, so I got those two charges. Ultimately, I had a public defender. I wrote the whole thing out. Um, it went on for months. I think I was going to court for damn near a whole year, if I'm not mistaken, uh, before they finally dismissed this. They were trying to give me plea deals, get me to sign for this, sign for that. And as I've said before, with organized stalking and harassment, I have witnessed firsthand in certain courthouses from Texas to Florida where they're making deals with these individuals to go out and do this to people. Okay, I think they call it a diversion program of sorts. So there's different ways to do diversion programs. It could be in the form of community service where you got to go pick up trash and stuff like that, or they may open up some other options in which I'm assuming you would have to sign a contract of sorts, that you won't talk about this program to anyone and stuff like that. So I witnessed all this stuff in these courthouses. So I was in there from April 22nd to May 10th of 2022. So I was in there, a little bit over a month. And while I was in there, I had a couple different cellmates. Initially, when I was placed in there, they put me in the psych ward part of the jail. And the reasoning why they did that was because I refused to wear the fucking mask. And that was during the time where they still had the COVID bullshit going on. So I wouldn't wear the mask, and I also wouldn't sign any paperwork giving them authority over my medical while I was locked up in that facility. I'm like, look, you guys have brought me here on false charges. I don't need any of your medical assistance or attention. I just want to go through the process and get this shit over with. And so I refused to sign any of that paperwork. So yeah, that was their reasoning for putting me in the psych ward part of the jail. I didn't get padded up or put on a straitjacket or anything like that. That was the excuse they gave. So I was in the psych ward part of the jail. I want to say about maybe about 5 days at the most or something like that before they actually transferred me to a 24-in-1 facility, meaning you're in a cell 24 hours a day. You only get 1 hour out to walk around, stretch your legs. If you need to use the phone, you can do that. If you need to take a shower, you can do that. If you need to get on the kiosk, they now have computers in these jails now to where you can get online. But it's all restricted. It's restricted to that jail. You can get an email address and stuff like that, send emails and all kind of stuff. So that was something that was kind of not really surprising, but when I had gone through court cases in Texas or whatever, and I was in jail there, you didn't see that, so that's just a sign of the times with technology and how everything is turning towards, or has turned towards, computers and paperless and all that. So anyways, I'm saying all this to say that during my stay at the Polk County Jail, and it was in Frostproof, by the way, just to be clear, Frostproof, Florida was where this jail was. I had a couple of different cellmates, one of which was this guy. Which one do I want to show first? This one? Yeah, so I was in jail with this guy, okay? His name is Levi, first name Levi, last name Jonathan. He changed his name when he moved from the state that he was from. I guess initially he was involved in a life of crime and he tried to change for the better, so he decided to change his name. He didn't want the stigma of his criminal past, to be attached to him. So I guess that's the reason why he changed his name. Or maybe that's an alias. I don't know. You're in jail with people. You don't know if they're telling the truth or if they're lying. I have no clue. But that was the guy. That was the name he told me. Upon further investigation, his last name was actually Bork. So I think apparently Jonathan is his name. But when you look on Damn, what other site was I looking on? There was somewhere else that I was looking, and it showed his last name as being Bork. So, anyways, me and this dude was locked up together. The only thing me and this dude had in common was we both have YouTube channels. Okay? This is his channel, Ra's Rebirth. This is him while he was in jail. I had already gotten out of jail while he was still in jail, having his wife post videos onto his channel. You can check his channel out. It's called Ra's Rebirth. And as you can see, this is the same guy. Let me just click on one of the videos.
Greetings and all praising the King.
Okay, so look at his face. So we see this is the same guy. All right, this is who I was locked up with. He was like my second cellmate. And they put us in this cell where we were locked up 24 hours a day, and we only got 1 hour to come out, but we didn't even get that. They kept us locked up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I could literally count on one hand out of the whole month that I stayed there how many times they actually let us out, and minus maybe 2 or 3 of those times they were playing with us, or they were playing with me, because ultimately he appeared to have lost his mind. He couldn't take being in the cell anymore, so they had to haul him off to the psych ward part of the jail while I still remained in the same cell. But sometimes they would let me out only to have the correction officer that was overseeing the the unit that night to tell me, "Oh, Shuko, what are you doing out? You're not supposed to be out. Get back in your cell." So I'm walking back in my cell. And again, the psychological operations don't stop. Even when you're in jail, you still get gang stalked. The correction officers and deputies still fuck with you. So that's all that was. But despite all of what was going on with the psychological operations, the torture, I still remained consistent. I kept a cool head. I kept a very calm demeanor. I always spoke to the deputies and correction officers with respect. Even though a lot of them were corrupt and pieces of shit, as it says in scripture, wise as a serpent, right? Gentle as a dove. So that's what I did. So anyways, while I was locked up with this guy, when you're in jail, oftentimes people are curious. They want to know what you're locked up for and stuff like that. Told him what my charges were. No big deal. I told him about my harassment, organized stalking and harassment I was experiencing. And based off of what he was telling me in that jail, he too was also going through organized stalking and harassment, but he didn't know it. Okay, he did not know it. I'm just basing it off of the events that he told me was happening to him and his wife, and how the police was constantly just on his tail. I'm like, dude, it's a reason why they put me and you in this cell together. So as we started talking more, he started to reveal that, he had a YouTube channel. I'm like, what? So that was the connection that me and him had. So he also has videos. He has more than one channel. I don't believe it's on this channel, but it's another channel he has where he's actually recording law enforcement and stuff like that, and posting it on, on YouTube. Okay. If you're wondering why he's dressed like this, he is he's a Rastafarian, right? Obviously, he's not Jamaican. He's not a native Jamaican. He's Caucasian dude, but he converted to that religion. Okay. And for those of you that don't know about a Rastafarian religion, pretty much their savior, just as Jesus Christ is savior to Christians, Haile Selassie, if I'm saying his name right, is considered Jesus in the Rastafarian, religion or what have you. Okay. So this dude would always do prayers out in the open in front of me and stuff like that, and he seemed really dedicated. He didn't eat meat. He got into a lot of altercations with the correction officers that were there because they wouldn't give him his proper diet. So when you go into jail, there's a form that you fill out pertaining to the type of diet that you're used to eating. So if you're a vegan, they have to accommodate that, but you got to let them know. There's paperwork that you have to sign for it. So he did all that. But for whatever reason, they was giving him a hard time about getting his diet. Okay. And for the life of me, I couldn't understand. He was real nice about it at first, respectful and stuff like that. So I was looking at it like, I don't see any reason as to why they would deny this guy his proper, diet. Again, we're dealing with the beast system. So I can feel that way, like not understand why they're doing it, but at the same time, I do understand because we're dealing with the beast at the end of the day. So they're going to give people that are not of the beast system a hard time. So anyways, this was his religion. This is what he was into. He was giving me some information about it and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, cool. That's all fine and dandy. I don't subscribe to any religion, Muslim, Buddha, Christian. I think they're all just a means of control and division. I'm a spiritual being, and I trust in my creator that put himself into me, that dwells within me, and so on. So I don't subscribe to any religion. I don't wear trinkets of deceit, crosses. Some people work with crystals and things of that nature. That's not me. I don't need any of that thing to be who I am and to be who my creator placed me here to be. I don't need anything outside of the spirit and the soul that was placed within me. Just to be clear. When you're born into this world, you're not born with crystals. You're not born with crosses in your hand. To me, they're all just trinkets of deceit is what I like to call them. But anyway, so this was his religion. This was what he was into. He's married to an Asian woman who seemed very nice. This is her. If you want to check her video out. She posted this video, I believe, after I had already gotten out of jail. And it's kind of sad to watch. And they live in Polk County. I forget what city. I want to say Lake Alfred, if I'm not mistaken, but don't quote me on that. But this is his wife.
All praises to the King.
And when she's saying the king, she's referring to Haile Selassie. His picture is not fully in the frame here, but that's who she's referring to. So she was into that religion along with her husband. And so he just gave me a lot of information about his life, stuff that he'd been through and stuff like that. So again, going back to what I was saying about the charges. So I, openly told him what my charges were, no shame in that. I'm targeted by government, law enforcement, intelligence agencies. So there's nothing to hide. I'm not a criminal. So when he get to disclosing his charges, okay, he disclosed he got a disorderly conduct. He received this disorderly conduct charge while we were in jail. This was before he actually became my cellmate. Apparently, he got into an altercation with a correction officer. They then decided to charge him additionally with disorderly conduct. His initial charge was harassing, which was a felony in the second degree. So he told me about a situation where this lady was, I guess, harassing him and his wife. So he tried to harass her back, I guess, or tried to expose it. Let me not say he tried to harass her. From what he told me, he was trying to record this woman basically coming onto their property and just lurking and just, doing the things that gang stalkers do, right? That sounds very familiar. So him telling me things like that, and in addition to that, other stories, I'm like, okay, this dude sounds like he's targeted. Which would make sense as to why they would put me in the cell with him. But, mind you, these were the only two charges that this dude told me about, okay? He told me there was a third charge, but he refused to say what it was. And it wasn't until recently, until I started doing some further digging, because I had kept up with this dude. Even after I got out of jail, I promised him I would call and check on him, because I knew how those deputies were treating us in there, those correction officers, okay? Not all of the correction officers were bad. There were some that looked out for me. Shout out to Asbury, Correction Officer Asbury in Polk County Sheriff's, that jail. And God, what was that other guy's name? His partner. We used to call him Batman because the dude sounded just like Batman. Big dude. I think he was like Cuban or something. But he was a really good guy. He was, what was his name? Why do I not remember his name? But anyways, so it was him. It'll get to my mind at a later time. But so back to him. So I was wondering why this dude didn't tell me about the third charge. And it wasn't until I did some further, when I got out of jail, I looked up his charge, right? This is the third charge. Video voyeur of a 24-year-old child. I don't understand what this shit is. It's like, okay, video voyeur. I assume that this was voyeur, right? But it says 24-year-old child. So I'm like, how can somebody be a 24-year-old child? So when I actually looked up this charge, basically what it amounted to was he had recorded an underage, basically a child, inappropriately is what it amounted to. You can look it up yourself. One second, let me try to pull something up here. You can look it up yourself. Um, a person commits the offense of video voyeurism dissemination if that person, knowing or having reason to believe that an image was created in a manner described in this section, intentionally disseminates, distributes, or transfers the image to another person for the purpose of amusement, entertainment, or sexual gratification. I'm assuming that's what that next part is going to say, or something of the sort. One second. Yeah, for the amusement, entertainment, sexual arousal, gratification, or profit of another on or behalf of another, intentionally permits the use or installation of an imaging device to secretly view, broadcast, or record a person without that person's knowledge and consent who is dressing, it's very important to read the rest of it, who is dressing, undressing, or privately exposing the body at a place and time when that person has a reasonable expectation of privacy. Okay, so when I saw that charge, I thought to myself, because I've talked to this dude, right? I spent time in there to get to know the guy. Okay, now I got to be very careful with what I'm gonna say. So first and foremost, this is what I'm about to say here is very solid. I do not condone any type of activity that involves recording children inappropriately, recording children using the bathroom, um, or just looking, setting a camera up in such a manner to watch a child being naked and stuff like that. If you're not the parent, it's different if you're that child's parent, right? And your child's in the bathroom, using the toilet. There are plenty of home videos where, oh, look at my baby's using the bathroom for the first time, and you're kind of recording it, but that's for the purpose of like family home video. You get what I'm saying? That's not for the purpose of just putting it online for pedophiles to see, and then you're making money off that type of shit. There's a complete difference between the two. So I just want to say that I do not condone any activity that involves exploiting children in that manner. I do not condone pedophilia. I do not condone any type of sexual abuse or anything that would defile or cripple a child in that manner. First and foremost, I just want to make that clear. I am not a pedophile myself. I am attracted to women only. I'm attracted to grown adult women only. Just to be very clear. Okay? So I pondered as I was in jail, wondering like, why wouldn't he tell me what that next charge was? So to myself, I thought it may have been something like that, but then after talking to him for so long, I was like, nah, not this dude. Couldn't be. When I got out of jail, I looked him up before I called him. I looked him up, and I saw this charge. It's funny how it's not on this Polk County search, but it's on this one. That's actually when he went to prison, but it's right here. So I didn't ask him about it while he was in jail because obviously he wasn't going to talk about it. Okay. I wanted to wait till he got out of jail and then confront him about the shit. Dude, what is up with this charge? Like, what happened? Now, what you have to understand is when you get a charge like that and you go to jail and you got other inmates in there that don't have the mindset to really think and ask questions first, immediately they see, assault of a child, or, as this charge says, voyeurism, video voyeurism of a child, immediately people want to kick your ass. Okay. But I try to be a little bit more, it's troubling to hear that charge, but in this country, you are innocent until proven guilty. Okay. And I know how corrupt law enforcement can be. I know how they can set you up to make you appear to be something that you're not. Every targeted individual can relate to what I'm saying. Okay. So I say that to say I wasn't going to judge him because I didn't see any evidence. You got to be able to see the evidence of what the allegation was. Okay. That's with, even when you go to trial, fuck hearsay, you got to get the evidence. In the court of law, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove, right? So I wondered why he didn't mention that, and then I kind of had some understanding. Well, he didn't know if I'd be like kind of like one of those institutionalized guys where I just want to whip his ass because I know what that charge is type thing. You know what I mean? You got people that are kind of stupid like that. But over time, after he got to know me, clearly I'm no thug. Or I'm not like that at all. I would ask questions and stuff like that because, again, I'm a targeted individual. I know how law enforcement can try to set you up. People in the community can try to set you up, spread rumors and lies. So I felt like this dude was actually being targeted. Okay. But during our time locked up in jail, okay, during our time locked up in jail, there were times to where, okay, whenever it was time for us to get our trays, right, we weren't allowed out ourselves. We had to come to the door. The deputy would hand us our trays, okay. Sometimes I would be first. Sometimes he would be first to the door. It was kind of back and forth thing. The times where I was first to grab my tray, there was a couple of times where I turned around real fast just to see what he was doing behind my back. There was one particular instance when I noticed this dude was holding up the devil horns at the lower part of my back. He was holding this shit up, okay? At the lower part of my back. Now, mind you, I had another video where I was talking about how perps like to do this shit. Like if you're waiting in line somewhere at a grocery store, what have you, they like to get in your personal space, get close, and do this shit. You know, he did this behind my back. Okay. Not only did I catch him that one time, I caught it a second fucking time. Okay. When I caught it the first time, I waited damn near a whole week. I said, okay, I'm gonna catalog what I saw with my fucking eyes. I'm not gonna turn my I'm not gonna turn to see watch my back like I was before right away. Let me give it some time to throw him off guard. And sure enough, after about maybe 5 days or a week, I did it again, and I saw that he threw these fucking devil horns up. Didn't say nothing to him about it. Again, I played dumb. I acted like I didn't even see it. Whatever. But my eyes was open. Okay? At that point, my eyes was open. Now, recently, I decided to put his name in Google, okay? When I put it, because like I said, I had been checking for this dude, right? Me and him were locked up together. That's the type of person I am. If I was in jail with somebody who I felt like was in there uh, maliciously, just like I was, I'm gonna keep up with you. Like if you committed the crime, yeah, you definitely need to be held accountable for it. But I took it like, this dude was going through kind of like the same struggle that I was going through with thinking that maybe law enforcement might have set him up. Okay. So I took it upon myself to go to Google and type his name in Google. This was recently. Okay. This wasn't right when I got out of jail. Right when I got out of jail, I looked him up on Polk. Let me be very clear. I looked him up on this Polk County inmate search website. Okay. I typed in his name, and that's when I discovered this other charge that he didn't tell me about. So I said to myself, I'm gonna wait till he get out, and then I'm gonna ask him what the fuck. Okay, that's where I was at with this situation. But recently, I typed his name into Google, and do you know they had news stories of this dude? Okay, across the country. This one here was this in Tennessee, and I'll read it to you. I just want to establish that this was actually in was it Tennessee or North Carolina or some shit? Memphis, Tennessee, right here. This is Fox 13 Memphis, okay? All right. Not only was he on the news in Memphis, he was also on the news in Boston. Boston 25 local news, okay? Florida man accused of trying to record under young girl's dress. Same headline here, pretty much. Florida man accused of trying to record under young girl's dress. Let's read what it says. This is the same guy. Let's go back. 1 second. All right. I like it. This is a drawing that he did of himself. That's him. And let's go over here. That's the same guy. See, you can hear the
Oh,
sirens in the
king.
background.
Okay.
So see, that's what makes it kind of confusing. Like, okay, if he's a targeted individual, you know, that's one of the signs, right? He's trying to do his little sermon, and it's getting interrupted by police sirens in the background. I can relate to that shit. You ever notice how targeted individuals try to make a video, or they're focused on something that is positive, or they're trying to put some good information out for people to learn from, and there always has to be some sort of disruption or disturbance. So that was a telltale sign to me, okay, that this dude might be targeted. So again, we go back to the news story. Let's go ahead and read what it says. A Florida man is accused of voyeurism after authorities said he attempted to record under a 9-year-old girl's dress at Walmart. Levi Jonathan, let's go back over here. Where's his name? Yep, see? This is what I was saying earlier. He had different aliases, or that, you know, different versions of his name, but Levi Jonathan's right here. Okay? It's also right here. Okay? So this is the same dude. Levi Jonathan, 41, of Winter Haven, was arrested Thursday by Haines City Police. The Ledger of Lakeland reported Jonathan was charged with video voyeurism, a felony according to Polk County Jail records. According to police, the victim was with her mother at Walmart on July 1st when Jonathan began following her around. The news station reported. Police said that surveillance video showed when the child's mother turned away, Jonathan knelt down and attempted to film beneath the girl's dress with his phone. The television station reported. The girl's mother eventually saw what was happening and reported it to store officials. The Ledger reported. Jonathan left the store in the interim, the newspaper reported. Detectives arrested Jonathan at his home on Thursday. Okay. While this is the first time he's being criminally charged for recording young girls, I can say unequivocally, given my experience, that this is not his only victim, Haines City Police Chief Jim Elinsky said in a statement. I applaud our detectives for doing a thorough investigation. Equally as important, I commend the girl's mother for speaking up for her daughter. I encourage parents everywhere to report this type of behavior. If you see something, you need to say something. Jonathan has 2 prior arrests in Polk County on drug-related charges. He did tell me about those, according to a news release issued by Haines City Police spokesperson Mike Ferguson. Jonathan is currently out of jail after posting a $5,000 bail, according to his jail records. So he had got out of jail, but then got rearrested, okay, and put back in jail because he violated something. So that's why he had to come back to jail. All right. So again, I would want to see the footage of him doing this. Could it have been a situation where he set his phone down and he was tying his shoe or something? Could it have been that? And I know that sounds ridiculous, like, oh, come on, Ochu. Like, the dude was trying to look up the girl's dress, right? That's what they do. They kneel down, act like they're looking for something. They might drop some money, but really what they're trying to do is they're trying to look up someone's skirt, you know? And I get that. I can understand that. But all I'm saying is I want to see the evidence that they had against this dude. Now, apparently the evidence must have been compelling because he recently just got sentenced to prison, okay? And I just found this out within the past 2 weeks. I've been meaning to make this video for a couple weeks now. I was trying to get my facts and stuff together. But he was convicted of the harassing and the felony, which is a second-degree felony. And then he also got convicted for this video voyeurism of the child. Okay? It didn't get dismissed, but they gave him time served for the disorderly conduct. So that's out the way. So, one second. So, with saying all that, I don't know what to believe. I'm more inclined to believe that he did do it based off of the devil horn shit he was doing behind my back in jail. But then there's the other side. Well, I know how law enforcement can try to set people up. So it's kind of like, at this point, I'm unsure, but I'm leaning more towards he did it. Until I actually see the video evidence of him actually doing it, That's kind of where I'm at with this. Okay. Again, I want to be clear, and that's fair. Okay, that is completely fair. What I want to say again, I do not condone anyone recording a child inappropriately. And what do I mean by inappropriately? That child is naked, and you're trying to post it online for other people to look at. You're trying to gain profit, or you're recording a child in a private setting, and that's not your child. If they're using the bathroom and you're recording them, that's a definite no-no. But if you are in public, in a public space, say you're like at the park or you're out and about and you're just recording your surroundings, you're not recording children per se. You're just recording what's around you. See, I'm trying to articulate this as best as I can, because what these fucking perps will do, especially with my situation, is I pull out cameras because I'm being organized. I'm a victim of organized stalking and harassment. Okay. Law enforcement are steadily trying to find ways to entrap me. So when I go outside, I'm having to bring my cameras with me as a means of protection, as a safeguard for myself in case anything happens. So what these perps will do is they will bring their children around, okay, just so they can get within view of my camera. And then what they'll do is they'll be like, why are you recording my kid? They'll try to confront you on that. Like, no, I was already recording and you brought your child into the frame. That's the type of shit that these motherfuckers do. Or if they want to be real slick about it, when you're a targeted individual and you're surveillance 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they know if you're getting ready to come outside. Say you have a routine of going outside at sunset, right? You're in the comfort of your residence. You go outside to your back patio and you like to just relax and soak up some sun. What they'll do is they'll have their children out there beforehand because they know you're going to come out with the camera. And that way they can say, oh, look, this guy's being a pervert. He's recording kids. No, that's not what I'm recording. First and foremost, if I'm recording, it's not for the purposes of any type of sexual gratification of any sorts. I'm recording for my security and for my safety. You would think that a person would be glad that you have someone in the neighborhood that is looking out for people in that way. But see, these people's minds have been brainwashed to think that I'm some sort of criminal. So they play the narrative of he's some sort of weirdo, pedophile, whatever, and I am none of those fucking things. So I just want to make that very clear. That is a tactic that they will use against a targeted individual for recording. Because they want you to do away with the camera because they don't want to get caught doing their shenanigans and trying to set you up. Because if you can catch them doing it and you have to go to jail for it, guess what? You can sue them. Okay? If you can articulate what's happening, you can sue these motherfuckers. I wouldn't advise getting a lawyer to do it because the lawyers aren't going to help you. You have to take it upon yourself to file those lawsuits. If you can articulate what's happening, if you can articulate the entrapment that they're trying to inflict upon you. Okay, so I just want to be very clear about that. So again, this dude, I'm really tilted towards he probably more than likely did do that shit based off of some of the things I saw him doing while I was in jail with him. But at the same time, you never know. So I just wanted to put that out there. Okay, this is so we talked about, this is Memphis. It's pretty much the same thing in Boston. Haines City, Florida. Florida man accused of voyeurism, authorities said after he attempted to record another 9-year-old's dress at Walmart. It's the same thing, okay, that they're saying. So I'm not going to read the whole thing again. But you know, I don't know what to say. If he did do it and he's in prison, I hope he gets his brains beaten out. You don't do that to fucking children. I do not condone that in no fucking way. Had I known that and I had proof and I was in that cell with him, I probably would have beat the shit out of him. Okay? So, they had me in a cell with this fucking dude, I guess with hopes of trying to see if I would find out about his charge and then try to fuck him up while we're in there together. And we almost got into a scuffle a couple of times. He was just doing kind of like just irritating shit, and it was just getting to the point where, okay, dude, you need to chill out, okay? He was doing a lot of fucking screaming, banging on the cell door. People it's already fucked up that you're in jail, right? But you got to hear this maniac screaming and hollering. I'm like, dude, just calm down. Like, and he's supposed to be this religious guy, right? Like, why don't you fast? Just fast. Don't worry about it. They'll eventually accommodate you. Hell, I was giving him shit off my tray because he couldn't eat meat, and I wasn't half eating them trays anyway. So I was like, here, take these beans or whatever, take this rice. I'm not gonna eat the shit just to keep him, just to keep him calm or whatever. But yeah, he caused a lot of problems for both of us in there because I wasn't even part of that shit. I was always just sitting in my bed watching the show. I was the watcher in the jail. I didn't get involved with nobody in there. I didn't make friends with nobody. I stayed to my money. Hell, I couldn't because I was locked up in a cell 24/7 anyways. Having other inmates walk by my door looking at me like I'm some animal on exhibit, some exotic animal on exhibit at the zoo. That's how that shit felt when everybody else got to come out. It was almost as if it was some like nanny nanny boo boo type shit. How people can be childish. Anyway, so I just wanted to share that with you guys. Me being in there was real. It's not no street theater. I'm not just pulling shit out my ass. I really did get arrested in Polk County for that shit. And yeah, the Bible even says watch out for people that pray in public, right? That do all this theatrics and pray in public and act like they're so holy. And then look at what I found out he was charged with. He was doing all this shit, and then I found out he's charged with, this video voyeurism of a child. Okay. The possibilities of this setup. They have so many ways to try to get you set up. You got to be conscious and aware at all fucking times. Okay. What the intelligence agencies say that they have 6 ways from sundown to get their man or something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing. But could he have been just putting his cell phone down and the mother and child were perps doing street theater? Go walk over there, get over there, get over there. Like on that type of thing to make it appear as if that's what he was doing when he was just really just trying to tie his shoe or something. I don't know. I haven't seen the footage. I just need to see the footage. I'm only speculating. Okay, he may have very well done this shit. So that's pretty much it in this video. I also wanted to share a video about entrapment as well. Let me play this video real quick.
As citizens, we're all responsible and required to follow the law. And if we break the law, there'll be consequences. We all know this, but one thing you need to understand if you've been charged with a criminal offense is that the police also have to follow the law. If the police break the law in the pursuit of you, or in your case, for example, a sting operation, a solicitation investigation, then you may be able to use the defense of entrapment. Now, what does entrapment mean? Well, there's 2 types of entrapment in the state of Florida that the law recognizes. There's objective entrapment and subjective entrapment. Objective entrapment is basically a situation where the law enforcement conduct in the undercover sting operation was so outrageous that it can't be condoned, and the case could be thrown out on that basis. Subjective entrapment, on the other hand, is a little bit different. And basically with subjective entrapment, we're looking at the police officer's action in conjunction with the undercover operation. So, with subjective entrapment, if the police officer encourages a person to commit a crime, actually trying to create crime, and that person wasn't predisposed to commit the crime, then you could be found not guilty even though technically you committed the offense that you were charged with. The way this works is if the state can prove that you committed the crime, for example, the solicitation or the drug sale, but then you can turn around and show by a preponderance of evidence that the police encouraged you to commit the crime or induced you to commit the crime and that you weren't ready to commit it. In other words, you weren't predisposed to commit it, then you could be found not guilty even if you technically committed the crime. It's important that these issues be brought up because, again, the police should follow the law just like everyone else.
If we have not answered your specific...
All right, so there you go with the video on entrapment. 1 second. Word breakout. Think about carefully, especially before making a decision or reaching a conclusion. 3. Previous to, before. Preponderance of evidence. Quality of factor being greater in number, quantity of importance. No, I need the legal definition. I should have typed it all out. The standard of proof in most civil cases in which the party bearing the burden of proof must present evidence which is more credible and convincing than that presented by the other party, or which shows that the fact to be proven is more probable than not. All right, so before ponderance is to think about something carefully, especially before making a decision or reaching a conclusion, or to ponder. I thought ponder was like to look at something, to think or consider, especially quietly, soberly, deeply. Right. So I'm saying all this to say that currently the deep state law enforcement, I guess you could say, FISA 702 police, whatever you want to call them, this thing is so compartmentalized, right? You got some people that are good cops that are working with cops that are bad cops, not working with, but they're divided in a sense that the other hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing type thing. So you're in a situation where you got these deep state cops or FISA 702 police that are steadily trying to find ways to set up the target by way of entrapment, right? One thing that I have done that I'm known for is my surveillance from different angles. It's very important. I already have video evidence in the past that I've posted to my channel of catching these people red-handed in their attempts to try to get me entrapped. Okay, if you haven't watched that video, for the newer viewers, check out gang stalking, solid proof of agents being dispatched to my location, and then check out the part 2 where I actually have footage of when I was inside the CVS store. So in the current residence that I'm staying at right now, this is what I'm having to do, is set up cameras in different positions, different angles, all to simply go outside and check on my fucking vehicle at night. That's really the only time I go outside. Mind you, I have a work from home job. I don't need to leave the house. The only window of opportunity that corrupt law enforcement and corrupt intelligence agencies have to try to get me caught up in some sort of charge is during that window of opportunity when I'm going outside to check on my vehicle. I just want to make that very clear. Okay? When I go out there, I have several cameras that I set up in different areas. Okay? I switch up locations each time. Sometimes I use the same locations that I'm posting the cameras. It just all depends. I do a pre-recorded video of what my intent is. This is very important if you're a hard target. If you're a target that they're really trying to get, it's very important that you do things in this manner. Okay? I make a pre-recording of what my intent is when going outside to check on my vehicle. I posted a video of how these people have vandalized my vehicle. My tire got flat out of nowhere for no fucking reason at all. The outer wall of the tire got punctured. Okay? Where's that video at? Let me get to that. Right here. You can watch this video, gang stalking, clear-cut evidence of vehicle sabotage. I've already posted this. This is one of the main reasons why I go outside and check on my vehicle. Apartment complexes, townhome complexes are one of the worst places for a targeted individual to stay, because they can have a field day with your vehicle. One of the tactics that they used to use in these old complexes that I used to live in was whatever unit I was staying in, if it was an apartment or townhouse, they would flood the parking area right in front of my residence with other perp vehicles, so that by the time I got home from work or running errands, I wouldn't have a space to park at that would be, I could have visual on my vehicle from within my residence, right? So I'd have to go park around the corner where I can't see my vehicle. They would have a field day getting in and out of my vehicle, sabotage, doing all kinds of shit to my vehicle, okay? But in this instance, I don't leave out as much because I have a work from home job, so I don't have to wake up, extra early to drive to a job, get gang stalked on the road, experience workplace mobbing, and then come back home on the way home, experience gang stalking on the road, vehicular stalking is what they call it. And then you get back to the house, you're worried about trying to find a good parking space to park in front of your apartments so you can at least have view of your vehicle for security purposes, right? So my vehicle is parked in a place where I can see it from the unit that I'm currently staying in, okay? Which is great because I can set up my surveillance cameras, but that doesn't mean that these people can't hack your cameras or cause some sort of distortion to where you're not able to capture what you're trying to capture, which is the importance of having multiple cameras. Now, if this shit is happening to the other 2 cameras that you have, then you know there's something up with that. Okay, so that's why it's important to have multiple cameras, because if they fuck with all three of them at the same time, okay, that within itself is very telling. Okay, it's not going to be a coincidence. So I'm having to take recording devices, have a recording device on myself, have several cameras set up in the perimeter, just to go down to my fucking vehicle, to start my vehicle up so my battery doesn't die, which is why I do that. And I like to do it late at night, because once again, why does Ochu like to do that? Because you can catch these motherfuckers that's really out here doing this organized stalking and harassment. Okay, that's why I go late at night. Late. Okay, I have a flashlight that I use. I light up that parking lot so that I can see everything that's going on around me. Okay, there are some light poles that were positioned up and down this parking lot. This section of the parking lot where the unit that I live in is stationed, there used to be light poles that were all working and lit up. But about a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago, mysteriously those lights went out. Now, if you go to any other part of the complex, what you'll notice is that all the other light poles are working. But for some reason, in the vicinity of where I parked, all the light poles have gone dark. Okay, so to me, that's an indication that they're trying to set something up, maybe possibly cause some sort of harm to me, but they want to make sure that the whatever camera may be out there that's watching the situation won't be able to catch it, especially if it does not have night vision capabilities. Okay, so I do have cameras that have night vision capabilities, and I'm able to record everything that's fucking going on. Okay, which makes it very hard for them to try to set you up, because if you're making a pre-recording of something that may occur and they're just around the corner trying to fulfill that entrapment, and you're already speaking on it on camera, and then it happens, my gosh, some police officers are going to go to jail. Okay, when you look at the definition of entrapment, okay, what is evidence of entrapment? Entrapment is defined by specific parameters. The defense must be able to provide a preponderance of the evidence, which is me recording a pre-recording, giving intent of what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to go out there to commit no crime. I'm simply going out there to check on my vehicle. I have proof that my vehicle has been sabotaged and vandalized. No, did you report it to law enforcement? No, because it's not worth enough money to report. They're probably not even going to make a report because it's under, you know, the damage is like less than $100. You know, if even that, just to have that, because I had people come out and replace it. I didn't drive to get it replaced, so that's why it was that much. Okay, so preponderance, I did a pre-recording of the situation, giving my intent. Okay, by a preponderance of the evidence that the defendant would not have committed the crime were it not for the agent's inducement or coercion through harassment, fraud, threats, or other illegitimate means. I'm glad this word harassment is in there. Hell, inducement, coercion. That's exactly what these people do with targeted individuals. So that's why it's smart. If you're going through, a lot of targeted individuals end up in prison because they weren't smart enough to get cameras to record their surroundings. It's fucked up to have to live a life like that, but if you want to survive, if you want to last a little bit longer, it is detrimental to your freedom in a sense of not being behind bars. There's really no freedom outside of bars either. Hell, when I was in jail, you got people talking about, oh, I can't wait to get out in the free world. The free world meaning it's slang for, you know, get out, you know, be out of jail, be out, you know, walking around, thugging it up, whatever. I can't wait to get out into the free world, man. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do right by my girl. You know, I'm going to make sure my wife good. I'm going to take care of my kids, blah, blah, blah. And they go out there, shit, less than a week, they back in jail. So these same people, and I would talk sense into these people, man. They had one young cat that was in the jail with me. He was like 20-something years old, facing aggravated robbery. I think that was his second time. I think he's also in prison now, if I'm not mistaken. I tried to talk some sense into him. Like, you're young, man. Do something better with your life. Counseling this dude, you know. But anyways, so I said all that to say, back to what I was talking about earlier. You have targeted individuals that are in prison because they weren't smart enough to protect themselves. They weren't smart enough to see the bigger picture of what was going on around them. So they end up getting caught up and they get thrown in jail. But see, me, I got the eyes to see. I don't even have to go outside to see what's happening. I'm sitting right here at this desk and I see everything that's going on outside and around the corner. I can feel it. Not necessarily actually seeing eyeballs, I'm seeing it, but you can feel the energy. Okay? So that within itself is something that helps me. So again, the defense must be able to prove by a preponderance of the evidence that the defendant would not have committed the crime were it not for the agent's inducement or coercion through harassment, fraud, threats, or other illegitimate means. What are the two requirements for the entrapment defense to prevail? A valid entrapment defense has two related elements. First, government inducement of the crime, hence them sending their these corrupt law enforcement people, intelligence agencies sending these agent provocateurs out to harass the target, which would obviously elicit some sort of response from the target. Okay, that's criminal. That's against the law. Secondly, the defendant's lack of predisposition to engage in the criminal conduct. So that would be me making a video of my intent, right? My intent is not to go outside to commit a crime. My intent is not to go outside and break in anyone's vehicle. Matter of fact, I have video footage showcasing exactly what I did when I went outside, which was to go check on my vehicle. I douse a flashlight around my vehicle, check for damages because it's always sitting out there. I don't know what's happening with it because I'm not checking on it every day, getting documentation of any new damages. Occasionally, I may check my roommate's vehicle as well. His vehicle is parked a space over from mine. I may check his vehicle. He drives a sedan, an older model sedan vehicle. I'm not going to say make and model, put all that business out there, but, I may check on his vehicle as well. And train the flashlight up and down the parking lot. Hell, I'm ex-security. I worked in the security field. That's the type of shit I was doing. You would think people would be grateful for that. You got a guy that goes out there, he has a flashlight, it's late at night, everybody's asleep. Hell, people have Ring doorbells. I've seen the Ring doorbells on some of these townhomes around in my vicinity. Hell, there's a camera that is mounted on a neighbor's townhouse right across the way from the residence that I stay at. Hell, his fucking camera is pointing right at my fucking vehicle. Okay, so you got all this surveillance that's going on. Okay, but I don't trust other people's surveillance. I only trust my fucking surveillance. Okay, so I just want to be clear. This is what they got going on. I'm not going to say where I'm located in Florida. I'm going to keep that to myself. But just know that you got these deep state police. And I'm not saying all police officers are bad or all departments are bad or whatever. But I am very awake and aware of the bullshit that they are trying to enact upon me. I'm not fucking stupid. Okay, especially with the videos I've been posting lately showing a citizen standing up for his rights and standing in his power. They don't like shit like that. So whenever you do stuff like that, they will amp up the targeting and they will try to find ways to get you locked up in jail. I'm also in a situation where I'm currently filing motions, taking the liberty upon myself to be my own lawyer and file certain motions for things. I'm not going to put my business out as to what I'm doing, but there's also there's pending retaliation from that from doing that as well. Okay, I have filed several different motions that have been accepted by the county that I live in. I filed them correctly. I know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't need a lawyer for any of that shit. And they hate that when you know how to represent yourself and you acquire the knowledge that you need to push these things through with the courts. All right, so I'm just putting it out there in case anything happens to me. My intent in going outside is to check on my fucking vehicle. Occasionally, I may go up under my hood, check and make sure everything's good under my hood. Occasionally, I may sit outside on the porch of my residence, on the property of this residence, to get fresh fucking air. This bitch that's next door to me, I think these people are immigrants or something, but I know that this bitch has been watching me too. Whoever it is that's in that house has been watching me as well. Okay? I've got it all on video. I've got evidence and of all of it, and I can articulate it very well. I can show the the patterns of what I'm saying. All right, so I'm just putting it out there. You move into a neighborhood with good intent. You just want to live your life, work your job. I make an honest living. I don't have a job doing anything fucking illegal at all. I work a full-time job. I'm just trying to make my money. Save up as much as I can. I try to spend money on foods that's good for my body for the most part, just doing good things. But you got people out there that are pedophiles. You got people out there that are raping people. You got people out there that are robbing people, selling drugs, trafficking children, women being trafficked. Hell, men get trafficked too. Some of these third world countries, they have them out as slaves as well. There's all this other shit going on. There's problems with the border, but they're worried about a dude that don't never come outside, who's always just doing his fucking job, minding his own business, and going outside every once in a while just to check on his fucking vehicle. This is the type of shit that they're fucking doing. So I just want to make it very clear of my intent. I've already said it repeatedly, and that's just that. How long is this video? Is this another hour? I didn't mean to make it. I know I talk a lot, but I gotta be clear with everything I'm saying, man, because these people are fucking, they're snakes. They are some straight up fucking devils. Okay, I had some bitches out there earlier. I was going outside to retrieve my Amazon packages, and you had these bitches that was, I could see them from outside, from within the house, looking out the window. They were waiting on me to come outside so they could get a visual on me. And then as soon as I got my packages, guess what? They left. Got video footage of that shit. These people look like they probably could be, deep state police type shit. I don't know. I've never seen those vehicles around here before. It was a black SUV with blacked out tires, blacked out rims, and all this old kind of shit. Okay, so they're steadily watching. The wicked watches the righteous and seeks to slay him or her. That's what these motherfuckers are doing currently. So I just want to put that out there. That's all I got for now. Yeah, I hope this dude didn't do that shit. I spent time with him in the cell. We played games together. We were trying to like play this game. We were trying to read each other's mind. What was that shit called? We were trying to like think of a movie, and we would say certain clues of what the movie was or a song. We just had things we were doing in there to try to keep our minds off of being in that fucking hellhole that we were in together. So I hope he didn't do that shit, but if he did, I hope right about now he's getting the shit beat out of him, because you don't do no shit like that to no children. I do not condone that type of activity, and for the life of me, I don't understand why they would put an individual like that in a cell with me. They know the love that I have for children, and I would die protecting children. So they probably thought if I knew that I would actually hurt this dude, but I didn't know, because he didn't tell me what the charge was until I discovered it when I got out of jail. Anyways, that's all I got for now. Until the next one. Okay, something else that I didn't mention. I always testing. Hello. Yep. So he did go to prison for this shit. Okay. So look, he got sentenced on the 14th, and he got a year. He got 2 years. He got 1 year for the harassing. It was actually harassing a witness to a case, and then he got another year for the video voyeur of the child. So he's gonna be locked up for a while. And then he had already been in jail all that time after I got out, because I got out May 10th of 2022, and he stayed locked up until now. He's still locked up. So that's why I kept checking to see what was going on. But so it's like essentially he's doing like 4 years. He's got another 2 years to go. But so yeah, that's his current prison sentence. And if you go here, it shows he was released from the Polk County Jail. As you see here, end of sentence. Now he's going to state prison because he had to do the sentence for the disorderly conduct, which he got time served for. So now he's going to state prison. So his release date was 12/28. Then if you go to this Department of Corrections, Florida Department of Corrections, this was his sentencing date, and the incarceration was, this is when he got out, but then he was, taken to the Florida State Prison so that he could do his sentencing there. Or maybe he'd made a deal and he's out being a perp. Who knows? That could also be a possibility. Maybe they let him out and he's a perp. He's doing perp work. Who knows? Who fucking knows? But anyways, that was it. Just wanted to put that little bit of information in there.